Hey, everybody, welcome back to the RevRoom podcast. Thanks for tuning in today. Hey, I have a return guest. My good friend Brian Schmidt is back on the program today. He's been on here a few times and talked about several topics. We love having Brian on. But Brian is our AI practice lead here at Inverta. And so we brought him on because he just returned from attending a couple conferences, but in particular one called MAICON, which is the Marketing AI conference put on by the Marketing Institute. And wanted to have him bring back some nuggets that he learned from that conference. So we dig into that a little bit and talk a few things about go-to-market strategy and some evolutions that we definitely think teams should be making, utilizing AI tools and beyond. Let's dig into it and hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to comment and ask Brian any questions and follow up if you'd like to. All right, thanks for tuning in. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Rev Room. I am back with one of our frequent guests, Brian Schmidt. In fact, he was just on the last episode of the Rev Room podcast, and we're bringing you another episode around AI and AI in marketing. Last episode, Brian, we talked to you and James about building content production workflows, utilizing AI tools and whatnot. So we're going to dive into a little bit of a different topic. We're going to revisit a topic you and I talked about actually last year about this time. And Brian has recently come back from the Marketing AI conference put on by the Marketing Institute. And we're going to talk a little bit about what he learned this year, especially in comparison to what he had learned last year, and some of the things in the what AI is evolving. And yes, we talk about this a lot here on the podcast, but that's because we think it's important. And I know all of you are seeking as much information about how to apply AI to marketing production and efficiencies and like what does that mean for my staff and my job and all of those sorts of things. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more today. And we are so we're talking about like how AI really can't fix your overall strategy, but we're going to get into why we believe that. That's a pretty provocative statement because some people think AI can be your strategy. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So hey, Brian, welcome back to the podcast.
It's always fun to be here. I didn't realize it was just the most recent episode, so hopefully people are not tired of hearing me talk about this. I think this actually will be a good segue from the last conversation, though, because we're going to hit on, I think, some of the nuggets we uncovered last time, but didn't have time to really get into. So
yeah, get into deeply. That's a great point. So, all right. So you've recently come back from actually two conferences here that some of our marketing friends might know about. One is MAICON, which I just referenced, and the other one is MOPSA. I think I got that right?
MOPSA is the abbreviation. Mopsapalooza is the full name. So yeah, this was actually
sounds like a boondoggle of a fun time, I think. So.
Yes, it really was. I had never gone before, and marketing operations folks are a fun bunch. So it was great. That was fun for me because most of those attendees are like real marketing operations professionals. I was in marketing operations from more of like an overall strategy and an implementation oversight standpoint. These are the folks who like really get into the weeds. And so it was a bit of a different experience for me. Yeah.
Getting their hands dirty in marketing operations. So great. Well, we know you'll bring some insights even from that, but our main topic today is to really talk about your learnings coming out of MAICON. So I know you went last year, you obviously went back this year. So why go back? And tell me a little bit about some of the things that might have surprised you in now your second year of attending that conference.
For sure. As far as why go back, the obvious reason is just how quickly AI moves and has moved over the last, really since 2022 when like ChatGPT really dropped. So some differences in theme, but the technology is wildly different. And what we can do today is radically different than what we could do a year ago when I first went. I think the biggest departure for me, like the biggest takeaway for me was last year. And I think you remember, like, I was a little panicky coming out of that meeting last year. I was like,
I do remember that.
Everything I have done forever is worthless and useless now. And I'm probably not going to be employed in like a year. None of that coming out of this. So I think it was good that I went last year because it did wake me up a little bit to the potential of what we can use these tools for. And this was more about realizing, I think, that potential in a different way, a much more strategic and innovation focus for me, and less of a here are the automations and the little like short-term efficiency gains you can get. So a very different focus for me this year, which was exciting.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's talk about a few of the things you talked a lot about. Hey, coming out of last year, there was a little bit of anxiety around, oh my gosh, what's this going to do to all of our jobs? We talked about that on the
Yeah.
podcast last year, and I'll link to the that episode in the show notes. So if anybody wants to check it out and who didn't listen, they can. We have evolved a long way since then in the tools, but also to your point, the application of the tools are maybe thought of a little differently than maybe they were even a year ago. So some of the acceleration that we had anticipated may not have come to fruition. The ways in which people are applying them are maybe different than what was anticipated. So
Yes, I think
talk a
that
little bit about that, Brian. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's what we're saying. And what I want to be clear is like, because I think this is important that everybody just understand and be transparent about. Just this week, like yesterday, 2 days ago, Amazon announced that they were laying off 14,000 of their corporate jobs.
Yeah.
Like not their manufacturer or warehouse, not their delivery, but like these are corporate knowledge worker jobs. CEO of Walmart has gone on record saying we expect to grow over the next 3-5 years. We don't expect to grow our staff.
Yep.
Like where we're at is where we're at. Like these are two of the largest employers in the United States, either saying like we're not growing our jobs or we are actively reducing them. So I want to be real clear that what I thought last year that, oh, this is going to have a major impact on knowledge workers, that is true. The reason I don't feel panicky about it is because I feel much better equipped to handle it.
Uh,
And so that is a message that is consistent for me from last year,
Yeah.
is you still need to be on top of this and learn and understand if you want to be one of those folks who like stays relevant.
yeah.
Where I think some of the shift in focus for me happened. So last year I was very interested in how do we automate workflows? How do we take a lot of what we do and make it go away? So I don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's kind of what we talked about with Georgian.
Yep.
James at Georgian last week was this content flow. What I think is missing from that I really hit on at the conference this year is you're not doing that automation just for that automation's sake.
Mhm.
That's going to free up time for me. It's what I do with that time that's actually really valuable.
Yeah.
So we focused a lot on like, what's the difference between like optimization with AI and innovation with AI? Optimization is going to get you like those 10% efficiency gains or 10% effectiveness gains. That's fine, right? Like, depending on exactly where that 10% is, that can be really cool, but honestly, it's fine. Like an
Yeah.
A/B test can get you a 10% lift, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's when you use AI to innovate, to do something truly new that you could not do before. That's where you start seeing like 10 times the gains in either
Yeah.
efficiency or effectiveness. And that walking out of the conference is where, like, that's where I want to focus is
Yeah.
how can I take all that time that I've now saved to leverage AI to do something really, truly big and transformative?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit, unpack it a little bit more. What are some examples of some of those things that you maybe heard at the conference that you've been thinking about that
Yeah.
we may apply for with our customers here at Inverta as well?
Yeah. You mentioned it earlier, like AI can't fix your strategy. That's true. You should not just create my strategic AI automation where I input my product and out comes the strategy. Can working with AI make your strategy better?
Mm.
Yes.
Mhm.
I was at the conference last year when the first reasoning model came out, literally the last day of the conference. So they had to scramble to redo their keynote because the keynote was no longer relevant.
Mm.
And
Wow.
yeah, and since then, those reasoning models have improved to the point where they function as really a very good thought partner right now. And for me, their ability to, we always know, like summarization, categorization, like they're always really very good at that. But helping me look at my business input, my performance inputs, my goals,
Mm.
and just help me think through what's possible or what am I not thinking of? What are potential segments or potential markets that I'm not addressing? What are the macro trends influencing my audience that I don't have the budget to go research? I think
Yeah.
that's a missed opportunity for marketing everywhere.
Yes.
I was trained to be a marketing, like a research first marketer. And you don't see that much anymore. You see it at the campaign performance level. We've
Mm.
gotten like buried in performance metrics. Oh, my
Yeah.
emails, my funnel stages.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that stuff's not important. But that's optimizations.
Yes.
Big macro trends in the industry, those are the things that are going to cause massive disruptions to your business.
Yes.
Those are huge. And if you do not see those coming, if you cannot react and adjust to those are the existential crisis moments.
Yes.
No business is going to fold because your emails are underperforming a little bit. Like a business will fold if your entire product is now obsolete or a disruptor has come along and tanked it. Uh,
Yes.
and it's that kind of research that I don't feel like we do as often as we should in marketing. Or
Mhm.
if we are, it's not translating into the actual uh, the P of marketing that I'm trying to promotion. There it is. It's not translating into the promotion.
Yeah.
And I think you've had like Danielle on before, and we've talked about that where marketing, especially in B2B, has been relegated a little bit to the promotional arm.
Yep.
So I think there's a real opportunity here to get back to we should be research focused because it's cheap and it's fast and it's accurate
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
tools today. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, let's be honest, like I talk about your point, something I harp on a lot is that promotional factory that marketing, B2B marketing has become, right? Like take
Mhm.
piece of content and send email and make ad, right? Like that's what we
Yeah.
do. And we just do it over and over again and stop. We do need to stop doing that. But we have to do something else or add on to that in a much more strategic fashion. What you're saying is like use the tools to do the deep research that you need to do in order to
Yeah.
be really accurate and provide more context to your buyers and the buying group, right,
Yep.
to what you're trying even if you're just doing that against your promotions, you still should, see that
Sure.
and yeah.
Yeah. I think we've got a really strong opportunity to chain together some deep research about your market, your buyer
Yeah.
specifically,
Yeah.
or buyers. We all know there's an entire committee of them. Um, then working with AI to develop a strategy that makes sense, and then going back and saying, okay, I've got this strategy through the lens of these buyers. Is it working?
Yes. That's the
So
piece I think a lot of people miss. Like, it makes sense to do some upfront research so that you're building really quality content and, things like that, but, like, then validating that again,
mhm,
and you can do that quickly and efficiently. You don't have to have focus groups. You don't have to like,
yeah,
send people examples of things and have them test it. Like you just test it against, an agent of some kind that you've built in your buying committee.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I think there's good opportunities out there to inject like thought partnership style of AI throughout your campaign development, throughout your research process, honestly, throughout your like, I'm not in product management myself, but in your product management process.
Yeah.
Because product management is absolutely all about understanding your buyer and their very specific pain points, their user stories,
Yes.
like craft those.
Yes.
And that's not automation. Like that's a back and forth between you and some custom instructions or an agent.
Yeah.
And that I think there's strong opportunity there. And it was exciting to come away with that. So that was one of my big takeaways was where we're going to see huge shifts is for folks who are using it to do things they could not do instead of using it to do things they could do, but maybe a little bit faster or a little bit
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So tell me then, besides that angle, what other mistakes did you sort of observe that companies have made for our listeners so they can learn and not make those same mistakes or like really applying AI and the tools in sort of the wrong ways and learning from that and pivoting?
Yeah, there's a couple I think themes I want to hit on. And the first one is I think still just kind of around like new tool obsession.
Mm.
Um, just like there last time when I was there, there's now 50 million different AI tools out there. that all maybe do one or two things really, really well. And it's
Mhm.
very easy to say, oh man, that's really cool. That's going to improve my outreach by 10%.
Yeah.
Don't get super stuck on that. We should still, and this actually is a good plug for my marketing operations, or viewers or practitioners out there. AI is still a tool. We should always approach it through the lens of what is my problem that I'm actually
Mhm.
trying to solve. Um, what's my role? What am I trying to accomplish? What's the user story involved? Like literally, what are the actions I'm going through? What are my systems that impacted? Like putting all that together and then understanding, is this a process problem, a people process a problem, or do I need a new tool?
Right.
Then you can go out. What I will also add to that is it has become much easier to solve these problems in-house. There's a lot of purpose-built tools out there. If you are aware of your problem and you have a vision of how to solve it, a lot of even your quote unquote basic tools like Claude or ChatGPT at this point can help you produce a solution, like
Mhm.
literally code it. So if it truly is, I've got one thing that I just need to fix, you can probably do it yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's exciting. That all it takes anymore is someone with a vision or a good idea, and you can
Mhm.
prototype and get to production very quickly without having like the coding skill set as a blocker. That's a really
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a huge deal. I would never know what to do in that case. But to your
Sure.
point, it's closed the gap on a lot of those things, right? You aren't a designer or I don't know how to use Photoshop, but you can utilize the tools to do things that
Mhm.
that you can mimic in those really highly skilled tool sets. So that's
Yeah.
definitely opened the door for a lot of extension of what you can produce.
I think what we're going to start seeing is more businesses start to adopt like the AI native or AI startup mentality, which is like, if I've got a problem, my first go to is like, can I just do this myself internally?
Yes.
Yeah. Like with an AI tool
Yeah.
that I make. Yes. No. If I can't do that, then maybe I'll go look at one that I can purchase. And if I can't do that, then I guess it is human only.
Yeah.
Um, like spending money on a bloated tech stack um,
Mhm.
is a particularly when a lot of those tools are not going to be around in 2 years as they get bought up, they consolidate, or platforms like ChatGPT just take away the functionality and build it
Yeah.
within their own platform.
Yeah.
Um, really be careful about like what tools you are considering like critical to your business as you build them out because they may not exist
Sure.
in a little bit.
Well, I mean, shoot, let's be honest, that's very parallel to just our whole MarTech stack,
Yeah.
right? Like we've
Yep.
bloated this thing to oblivion and it's like half these things we're paying for, we don't even use, a fraction of what they're built for, right?
Yeah.
So
And
we
I
don't
so
need
I
it anymore.
in that regard, like, that hasn't changed, like, that's
Yeah.
been the same problem for years. I think it's just worse now because it's easy to get really excited about some of the stuff these tools
Yeah,
can.
it's just getting bought into the hype versus what's real,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, yeah. So, a lot of the customers that we work with, they at least from my experience, and I know you've had the same, but is a desire to want to figure out how to utilize AI in their marketing functions. And a lot of companies work with are maybe a little larger enterprise or so like higher mid market. They just, you know, honestly, like I feel like sometimes it's like you can't get out of their own way. They're in the day to day churn and like
Mhm.
there's no There's, like, no capacity, no extra space to do anything beyond sort of the day-to-day motions, because staffs have shrunk, budgets are shrinking, all of that, like, I'm not criticizing, I think that's just the reality we live in, so, like, there's not even, like, open space to go think about how do I apply AI tools and or, like, like, to your point, automations and workflows to my team to open up that space, like, it's almost like this never-ending cycle of stuck in, like, the paralysis purgatory, I don't know
Uh,
how to even put it,
you do.
like, there's that, you know?
People are, I think, paralyzed because this is this is fun and exciting. It is so complicated.
Yes.
And I think where a lot of businesses fall down is, we're going to go test something. Oh, hey, this works really, really well. Then what? Like,
Yeah. How do you roll that out? How do you
every
replace
business
your
ever
day-to-day
is
motions?
terrible at enablement.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the problem. And until we start treating this as someone's dedicated full-time responsibility, to not just manage the tools, but identify the use cases and roll them out and enable your team, you're not going to see the adoption that
Yeah.
we're looking for. A lot
Yeah.
of LinkedIn was a buzz about that MIT paper that came out a few weeks back, a couple months ago, probably, that said, oh, like 95% of pilots at these enterprises don't progress. And everybody took that to mean like, oh, the hype of AI, we're not delivering on it. It's not nearly as good as we say. And I'm like, no, think about what that actually means. What that report really measured was the impact that those AI pilots had on hiring practices over the last 6 months.
Mm.
Like, first of all, that's an insane metric, like, to look at. Like, that you think that over a 6-month period, these pilots are gonna dramatically affect the hiring practices of businesses. So that's a really weird metric to focus on. 2, think about who you're looking at, like these Fortune 100 companies.
Mhm.
Frankly, it's a miracle that 5% of those pilots progressed at the speed at which they did.
Yeah.
Um, so, like, I don't view that as, like, an AI failing. That's still just a huge enterprise problem of,
Yeah.
it takes forever to roll stuff out, and enablement is a challenge no matter what the tool is.
Yeah.
Um,
That's so true, Brian.
you
Having
know,
worked in a Fortune 100, like, it's just
no,
it's like
no.
turning a gigantic ship in the middle of the ocean,
Yeah.
on a dime. You can't do it. Like, it just doesn't happen.
No, to look back at a 6-month period and say that's your window of time to assess
Ah,
for an enterprise tool to get rolled out, like, come off
yeah.
it. Um What I think, and I do wanna talk again about, like, looking at the hiring practices as a metric. I'm like, read the news. Like,
Mhm.
every large business, and that's the big shift between this year and last year, is last year we were theorizing that this is probably gonna happen. CEOs are now extremely transparent about, "I am removing these people from my workforce, and it's because of AI efficiencies."
Yeah.
Like, they're not beating around the bush anymore. You asked the question earlier, what are some of the other, like, failings or quote unquote mistakes that I think are gonna come back to potentially bite us. One of the discussions that we had there that I found very fascinating was the potential for agents, which I'll get into that term here in a second, to really disrupt the buying process as we know it today. I
Mm.
actually think, like, if viewers have stuck around so far, like, this is, to me, like, one of the biggest things to really pay attention to.
Mhm.
Uh, Today, we're already seeing folks saying, "Oh, my SEO traffic is dropping," because people are researching on ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, um, or they're getting the AI overviews in Google, and that's not leading to a click.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's driven today just by me as a human prompting, right? What happens in a year from now where my business has an agent being something that can actually take action on its own without me telling it explicitly what to do?
Yeah.
When those agents have access to my business performance data, my campaign performance data, they understand my tech stack, and they can go out and say, your performance within this key audience segment is not where we want it to be. It's
Yes.
underperforming in terms of revenue. Um, I believe as an agent, I'm going to call up my ABM specialist agent here, and it's going to tell me that the best go-to-market strategy for this segment is probably a 1 to 2 ABM
Mhm.
campaign.
Yep.
Now I'm going to go call up my researcher, and it's going to go find me the best 3 ABM firms in the country, and I'm going to send that to my human to review.
Mhm.
And as I do that research, I'm gonna pull up pricing, I'm gonna pull up case studies, and I'm gonna pull up basically everything I know, that would allow them, the human, to make that next decision.
Yeah.
What if you are not on that list
Yeah.
as an OBM service provider? You're done. Like, you're sunk. you're not even going to be presented. So we're going from a world where I, the human, like understand the problem I have when I'm researching it
Yep.
to AI knows my problem and is recommending a solution to me that it's already vetted.
Mm,
That is an extraordinarily different buying process. Uh,
yes.
and what roles do some of our functions in marketing play when that agent then comes to me, gives me the list of things I need to look at, and I, the human, say, great, go book a demo with Inverta.
Yes.
Like, what
Yes.
role do SDRs play? What role do like email nurturers play? Like we have to think through this stuff.
Mhm.
And I think we have to be very honest with ourselves. Am I putting everything out there on my website that a buyer needs to make a decision? And I guarantee you the answer is no.
Yes.
Uh,
Absolutely, the answer is no.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we gatekeep. You've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
How you are very anti gatekeeping of any
Yeah,
kind of.
very much am. Don't gate anything.
And I'm in the same boat. Our entire job is to provide value to the buyer. Like that's
Yes.
literally it. And I
Yes.
think the companies that do that well and do it in the places that these agents are going to go look, that's the missing piece. Is you can't
Mm.
just do it on your website. You have to do it everywhere. Like this, what's funny to me is this is not a new concept. Like this is
Right.
what marketing should have been for the last
Yes.
forever.
Yeah.
And companies that I think got hyper focused on, very narrow windows of marketing. It ignored some of the brand marketing, some of the bigger awareness marketing are going to get bit a little bit by this, a lot
Yes.
of it potentially. Yeah,
Absolutely. I completely agree with that, Brian. And to your point, this is something I talk about a lot on my LinkedIn feed and just in customer discussions. And again, back to we as B2B marketers in the last decade to 15 years have become a promotional engine to
yeah,
drive what? One metric that we've been focused on, and it's the MQL. Right? And our friend Carrie Cunningham calls it the MQL industrial complex. Everything, every tool that's been built, every motion that we do is all around the almighty MQL. The MQL is not the desired end state. It cannot be. It's not how you
well,
and I buy as buyers, even as consumers, as B2B buyers. It's way not how people buy.
nope,
Like, it's not one person and one phone call and one interaction. Like, stop already. Like, and to your point, you have got to be thinking more long term. I get it. As a business, we have to make numbers in this quarter and next quarter. There is no 4 quarters from now. Like, I get all of that. I understand that. But at some point, you will get diminishing returns down the road if that's all you're
yeah.
focused on in the near term.
No, I totally agree with that. I don't know if you and I chatted about this. I've been talking about it recently, but the CMO average tenure has gone down a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it is a symptom of the pressure to meet this quarter's numbers, this
Yes.
month's numbers.
Yeah. The
And
CRO, by the way, the same thing now,
yes,
right?
the
Like,
exact
same
same thing.
thing.
So to accommodate that and to be seen as valuable, we basically look at, okay, well, I'm going to get revenue then with accounts that close the fastest and close the highest. And those are two good short-term numbers to look at.
Yes.
But it is the CMOs who are looking at who do I retain? Who grows revenue with me over time? Like
Mhm.
who generates the maximum average lifetime value with me? Those are the customers that I should be pursuing.
Yes.
Problem is that doesn't always go hand in hand with short sales cycles.
Yes.
Uh,
Absolutely.
And so we focus on customers that don't necessarily stick around. And so I may meet this month's numbers, but my profitability long term sinks.
Yeah.
That leads to less budget for me as marketing, which makes it more and more difficult for me to actually get the next month's job done. So we're caught in this like horrible loop
Horrible
of
sight.
short term promotional thinking.
Yes.
And like I said, I think that will really come back to bite businesses.
Yeah.
When we think about building campaigns, building content, really, um, we have to get back to every single asset. We need to understand what is the value that this provides to my buyer? What is it doing for them? What is the question that they're asking that this answers? And by buyer, I do also kind of mean, like, is an agent going to find this and find it valuable?
Yeah. Yeah.
That frankly includes pricing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. People say
Yes.
pricing pages don't convert. Who cares? That's not what they're for. They're
Right.
to be valuable and informative to your buyer.
Yes.
Buyer has to be your North Star always. And I know that is like the most non-insightful marketing comment ever, but my counter is like, why are we so bad at it?
Well, I was gonna say, but the reality is that's not how we behave and how we
Oh,
build our marketing quote campaigns, and I use quotes very generously, right?
mhm.
An email and a white paper are not a campaign. And like, yes, it's absolutely true. Like, to your point, you can say the most cliche or basic thing, but the reality is that's not how we live and how we are incentivized even as organizations. That's not even just a marketing problem, when we talk about quarterly quotas and like, trying to drive salespeople to certain things. Like they're not thinking about long-term, NRR, whatever, retention, lifetime value, all of those sorts of things. They're thinking about right now, this quarter, this month, how do we get to our number?
Yeah.
And we've
And
seen that. Like
totally.
we've been in organizations, we've worked with organizations that have forgotten that piece, and it really does impact the overall ability to one, deliver as an organization. Like when you were taking on the wrong customers and you would then eventually either have to fire them or they leave, like it
Mhm.
causes friction for for your staff, for your CSM teams. It causes friction in the market because it can hurt your reputation. All of those sorts of things all flow downstream when all you're doing is trying to just grab as many deals in a quarter as you can.
Yep. Yeah, you've heard me talk about this a lot. I'm a big believer in buyer enablement. We need to produce content, assets, tools that make it easier for the buyer to make a decision.
Yeah.
Make it as transparent and as simple as possible. Make it extremely clear the value you provide, and make it extremely clear to them these are the kinds of things you need to be thinking about when you're evaluating a vendor like us. Like, just
Yeah.
make it easy, make it valuable, and that's how you win. And make it visible. It's got to be everywhere. It cannot just be on your website, though it
Yeah.
should also be there.
Yeah.
So I think the companies that do that really well are going to be well positioned. And I'll say it's not just marketing. That needs to be your BDR or SDR outreach as well.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah. Agreed.
single one of those touch points, um, put yourself in your buyer's shoes and say, if I got that email, would I find that valuable? And if the answer is no, then what are
Don't
we doing? Yeah.
don't hit the send button, right?
Yeah. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that to me was very eye-opening that um, the buying process is going to be very proactive from
Mm,
a human buyer standpoint. They're going to be made aware of potential solutions or vendors potentially before they even knew they had a problem.
mhm.
And that's really different. That someone else is going to go pull all that together for them and then book the demos realistically.
Yeah.
So just think about what that means, and maybe think about revisiting your journey mapping for your customers, your
Oh,
user
sure.
story. Like, now would be a good time to revisit it and say, what are the triggers within my client systems or clients' processes or their business? What are the triggers that would trigger an agent to go
Mm,
proactively look for a solution? What do those look
yeah.
like? And what's the information that it would be looking for to solve that problem? So they get very deep understanding of your customers' problems and exactly how you
Mm,
uniquely solve for them is huge.
yeah.
Um, so yeah,
That's a
it's a
great tip.
good time to revisit those things, I think.
Yeah, that's a great tip is both from a human trigger, right?
Mhm.
Emotional and like pain point stake, and then also what visibly could an agent be looking for as well that might create that. That's a great tip. Um, okay. Well, we are near the end of our time together, Brian, but Uh, just curious, like, being at MAICON and then, having conversations with a lot of people, where is marketing, and AI heading in the next year to 18 months? I know it's hard to predict because we sat here a year ago and predicted some things that, like we said, we opened the show, it didn't come to fruition, but
Yeah.
curious, what's everybody talking about?
Yeah, you hear me bring up the concept of agents a lot. We're not quite there yet. Um, I I I use the word agents internally to refer to custom instructions because I get tired of saying custom instructions.
Sure. Yes.
But we're not quite to I think the reality of what we'd all envisioned with agents yet. That said, some of what they are doing and what they're able to do is wild compared to what
Mm,
it was a year ago. And when we think about how quickly things adapt and evolve here, this year, 2026 probably, and into 2027 will be the year that a lot of those truly come online. Maybe by the end of 26 or mid 27, then we'll start be looking at like networks of agents, agent orchestrators that control others. And that's when we hit this world of them assessing your problem and recommending things on your behalf. So that's not tomorrow, but it's 18 months, 24 months from now. And because of the training cycle of these things, like you need to get that content out there now.
yeah.
So I think that's one that some people are a little disillusioned because it's not there yet, but you can see it happening.
Hmm.
So it's almost there. Um, Still a lot of focus, like I said, on stitching things together, and I think what that means for marketers and who use AI is particularly as you look to staff and hire. Um, that's a longer term problem that you need to look at is who is going to be the best suited to help me work with this ecosystem of AI tools and AI teammates and agents in the future, in the next
Yeah.
18 to 24 months. So I think staffing will start to look a little bit different.
Mm,
You still want people who understand marketing, but I think curiosity is an undervalued trait that we should be like trying to suss out during interviews.
I love that.
Because it is the people who know how to ask questions and know what questions to ask, can see a problem and try to get to the why of it. So we need to get away from just descriptive analytics where we're just saying, here's what happened. And get to really saying, why did that happen? And if we changed this, how would that affect what we're seeing? Like
Yes.
those are the sorts of questions. Critical thinkers going to be very important. Um, I'm struggling to say yet how important some level of technical skill will be. I think for some roles, I think marketing operations will start to play a bigger part in how do we stitch together some of these workflows and processes. But I am hesitant to say, I certainly am not going to say like a strong coding background is
Mm,
necessary because we're finding that's not really true even today.
yeah.
But I look at even some of how these are being stitched together. I use Zapier sometimes, and anymore, I don't even have to know how to use that particularly well because it's got an AI tool built in that I just tell it the workflow
Yeah.
and
Here's what I want to do.
it
Hmm.
configures it for me. So
Yeah.
I think people who understand workflows in the sense of here's the output I'm after, here's all the steps, and here's where I think it is super important. Here is the data required.
Yes.
That piece of it, the data layer that is going to support all of these agents that is critical.
Hmm.
So the businesses that have their data structured in such a way that it is easily accessible and clear to AI systems, that will be tremendous.
Yeah.
They will have a huge advantage. So we talked about content and assets and resources, tagging them, getting your meta descriptions in place. That's going to be really important for AI to be able to leverage a lot of the information you have.
Yeah.
So I think we are going to see this fun blend of people who understand the structure of information necessary to get to your output, but are still like creative and curious enough to
Yeah.
interact with the tools. So it'll be a fun time to staff for, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's something that you should get ahead of now because it'll put you in a much better place a couple years from now.
Yeah. That's great. Great insight, Brian, as always. Thank you. I always learn something every time we're together. So, well, more than one thing, but I usually have good
My goal
2
is
or 3 good
yeah. My
takeaways with
goal is that
Brian.
we're one. Yeah, like we're there. Yeah.
I love it. That's fantastic. Well, thank you again so much. And by the way, I would just say I'm a strategic marketer. I am not a technical person, and I can do things in Zapier. So if I can do
Yep.
it, anybody can do it. Go do
Yep.
it. Check it out. Just play around in it. All right, great. Well, thanks, Brian, and appreciate you. And hey, you're a regular guest on the program because we love to hear your insights about where you think AI is coming. So, as per usual, we'll probably talk to you again sometime in the spring
Yeah.
and see where we're at and where our predictions are moving and what might be new and what we need to consider.
Sounds great. Always love
Sounds
being on.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the RevRoom today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. For more, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Don't forget to follow Inverta on LinkedIn for more updates and exclusive content. That's Inverta, Inverta. Have a question or a topic you'd like us to cover? Reach out and let us know. Until next time, keep innovating and driving that revenue growth. See you next time.